talked in passing about barriers to exit before. When we talked about the assumptions of perfect competition and monopolistic competition, we said there are no barriers to entry or exit. We kind of glossed over the whole barriers to exit business. We talked about barriers to entry, and we said that these are obstacles or restrictions that prevent firms from coming into a market. So what are barriers to exit? Well, barriers to exit are the same thing. Yeah, so these are obstacles or restrictions in some way that deter or prevent a firm from leaving a market. So why might you not want to leave a market then, isn't it? Don't we just kind of go, well, I'm leaving? Well, firstly, actually, you might want to think about the level of loss. So we talked about this elsewhere when we looked at shutdown decisions, and we said that if you have fixed costs that can't be got rid of, then actually you would want to stay open, as long as price is greater than your average variable cost, because then at least you're making some sort of contribution towards your fixed costs. But then there's kind of so that one's fairly simple. Well, it's not simple, but we've dealt with it elsewhere. But there are other reasons, that closing, kind of might not entirely make sense. So secondly, is thinking about consumers. What's the impact on those? Possibly you may have contracts that are outstanding, that you have said that you're going to deliver something in a certain point in the future, or you have an ongoing obligation to provide services. If you renege on those, if you go back on those contracts, then the danger is, potentially you end up in court. You end up being sued and lose again more than you might otherwise have done. And even if you don't, this may be only one part of your business. It may be a branch in one part of the country or something. So the danger is that you're going to damage your goodwill. That customers are going to be annoyed, and that's going to have an impact on other parts of your business as well. From the point of view of employees, again, obviously they're going to be annoyed, but that's not quite what I'm thinking about here. If you close a business, then you are obliged to pay redundancy costs. So you're going to have to pay for the workers that you've made unemployed. And if you've been around for a long time and have long-standing employees, these costs can be very, very significant. It might make more sense to wait until the workers simply leave the market of their own, leave the business of their own accord. They go on to other things, to reduce those costs. And in some businesses, there's kind of there's actual costs of closure. So if you are in certain types of business, if you've had an impact on the local environment, you may face cleanup costs. If you leave that business, if you've contaminated soil and so on and so forth. And again, maybe it's more expensive to face up to paying these cleanup costs than it would be to continue to operate the business. So barriers to exit then, they're like barriers to entry, but the other way around. They're just reasons that it might be more difficult than you might think, to be able to exit or leave a market. So hence, closing down the business might not be as straightforward as it seems.